Welcome back to episode 12 of the Raising Whitetails podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Haig, and with me is my dad, Jeremy Haig, the owner of Haig Valley Whitetails, and my brother, Isaac Haig. Now, before we get into the episode, I want to thank everyone who subscribed to the podcast. Thank you to everyone who follows our Facebook or any of our other social medias. It means a lot to us, and it really helps us. Each week, we go into these episodes putting a lot of work into it, and it makes us feel really good to see all of you guys commenting and liking the videos. And if this is your first time being here, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Make sure to turn that notification bell so you can see more content of us. Our goal is to help other new deer farmers and just to give you guys some entertaining content. Without further ado, let's get into this episode.
Yeah, so really we've had a lot of requests on how our guillotine gates are built. And I know that when I started this whole journey of building our handling facility and wanting to, anywhere from another than I think we're going to do in the future too is building the doors for the boxes, because we had to do so much research on that to try to make those slide right and go together right. Yep. And I actually had to make some rollers and things like that. But with this one, the guillotine gate was the same thing. So I thought if I had to search it up and try to figure out how to make them, I figured new deer farmers and possibly some veteran deer farmers might be interested in how we made our guillotine gates. So we are going to have kind of a how-to episode here of how we build our guillotine gates, along with I've got a drawing for it here. I got a list of materials. So we'll have that up on the screen as well. So that is the plan for this podcast.
Yeah. And just a little update on what's going around the farm.
Right. So one of the big reasons we were able to do this was because we didn't have a guillotine gate in our fawning pen, and we are struggling with Sunny, who the big update here is Sunny, our little Texan deer, has not had fawns yet. She's the last one to have them. We're quite sure that the cover buck is the reason. AI didn't take the cover buck is in play here. So, and that is a sandburst son that is the cover buck. So I need to try to get her out of there, and it's really hard when you have a wild group of deer like us. So we put a guillotine gate on the end of where she usually hangs out. So that's why we decided, hey, it's a perfect time to show you how to make a guillotine gate, because we have to make one anyway. And so that is the update of our fawning situation. Is 5 of the 6 deer have had fawns. We're obviously at 9 bucks, 2 does, and we have now hopefully going to have 2 more at least from Sunny. I think it's now planned for next week. I think is the date the cover buck should next week, somewhere around the 20th.
All right, let's get into the build and the materials.
Okay, so as far as the guillotine gate goes, here's the bill of materials. And I've got this kind of a drawing made up, kind of, hopefully you can read my chicken scratch, but we'll have it up on the screen. For the bill of materials, you're going to have 1 inch by 1 inch square tube, 3/4 inch angle iron, 1/2 inch treated plywood, a small carabiner, 1.5 inch swivel pulley, 1/8 inch cable, 1/8 inch cable crimp, 3/4 inch round handle stock, and 2 1/8 inch cable crimp stops is what I call them. And that's going to make this whole picture here, and we're going to show you how this is all made. So first step was going to measure for the height. It's 102 inches. I cut 45-degree angles at the top for the height because the water won't get down in it then. Okay, so now we are going to make the width of the guillotine gate. I make them in 2 different sizes. Sometimes they're 36 inches wide, sometimes they're 4 feet wide. Just depends on the application of what we're doing. When we have the boxes inside to run the deer through, that's typically a 36 inch. But then we've got some bigger ones that we have for the outside ones where we're running a bunch of deer down at one time. This one's gonna be a 36 inch. We're gonna put it in the pen, in the fawning pen.
Yes, that's a touch long. just take a little bit off.
All right, now we got the dimensions of the guillotine gate cut. We know we want it 102 inches tall and 36 inches wide. So we're putting the frame together. Now it's time to weld this main frame together, and then we'll put the angle iron on for where the door actually slides in and out.
Ready? The wind messing everything up. The wind is blowing away all my argon, so it's not, doesn't have a shield. So what he's doing right now is he is cleaning the weld, because on TIG it doesn't weld very well when it's dirty, and so we try to get it as clean as possible.
Okay, we got the frame done. Now we're gonna move to the track that the guillotine door slides in. So let's get that done. All right, we're gonna cut the angle pieces for the track at 8 feet instead of 102 inches, just because it doesn't need to go all the way to the top. The 6 inches taller on the 8 foot just makes it so you can lift that door higher than the opening.
Here, I have them, all the little ones.
All right, so where else are you gonna go? How often do we do this?
I'll just kind of evenly space. I'll put one like right here. I'll go like right here, right here. I'll just kind of put spacing. Did myself. The end of the stick right here where I've been welding, I accidentally poked myself and scorched my skin.
Okay, now I'm gonna cut the 6-inch piece that goes on top of the frame that holds the pulley system that makes it so the door can come up and down. We're also gonna cut these little tabs right here, one like this. We do 4 on each side, and this is how we attach it to the wall. We put these tabs on both sides of the frame. That's how that works.
All right, now we're gonna weld on this angle iron. It's got a hole in it, and that's where the pulley sits for the guillotine. There we go. To the actual piece it's sitting on.
Next step is to cut the board. It's got to be 3 feet wide, and then there's 2 pieces of angle iron that run on each side of it to keep the side straight to go down the track. It should slide right in there. I know it's not from this end, but that's where it should go. Perfect.
It's for my burns.
So we're putting these braces on the door. They're 4 feet long. They go on the 4-foot door, and they're making it so it doesn't warp, and it'll slide up and down in the track really smooth. So the way I line up these braces is I measure 2 inches from the outside. So this whole track right here rides in the track on the door. And when you tighten these down with the 1/4 inch bolts, it flattens it makes everything straight, and this will slide so much better in the door. Next step, we're gonna clean off the metal because it's got an oil on it so it doesn't rust, and then we're gonna paint it. All right, now we're gonna paint it up and get ready to go. We're using Hunter Green Semi-Gloss. All right, there we go, all painted up. All right, now that we've got everything put together, everything painted up, ready to install, we're gonna install it here on this wall of this shed. The whole point of this door is to make it so we can remove deer from the fawning pen into other pens down the lane. Okay, we set up the opening for this. We're putting it here in the wall. I've got the door measured out where it needs to go, and now I'm going to cut the hole in the steel, and we'll put the frame up, and we'll show you all that. Now we're gonna put the cable in. We've got this whole roll of cable. It was like 1,000 feet for 1/4 of the price of Menards if you go to Temu. I am a Temu buyer.
I'm not even ashamed of it. We've gotten so much for this farm through Temu, all these shade cloths, everything, and we've saved, I'm gonna say over thousands of dollars we've saved, easy. So, not that I wanna plug Temu, but it sure helps a lot for a new deer farmer with a budget. All right, so this cutter, you have to have this cutter. It comes with the 1,000 feet of cable that we got, and it'll cut it clean, and we'll show you here that in a minute. But right now we've got to run up through the pulley down here. We'll turn it back around and then clamp it together. And we're gonna run over to that post over there, and then that's gonna make it so somebody can hide behind that wall, pull this open, and we can bring a deer through here and send them down there. Okay.
And then where's the actual point? We don't have to.
So we've learned our lesson to leaving this big and long here on some of the other ones we've done. You want to do it right tight down to it, because it's the distance you leave here will get stuck on the pulley when it goes up there and won't open as far as you want it to. So we've learned our lesson to start to get this relatively tight to it, so you don't have a lot there. So go ahead and get down in there.
I'm limited with room here because the handle is.
Okay, fine. You're just.
Which one is it? The 3?
That's the 8th, actually. Just go ahead and try and go. Go. Alright, so that's attached to the board. It's attached up there. Now we're gonna, we don't have that. No, we don't. We do. And that's a guillotine gate. All right, I put up the pulley system. Everywhere I change directions to pull on the gate, I put a pulley there. So we're putting it up here. So then when we're able to try to get a deer out of the pen, somebody can hide behind here and they don't know they're there, and they can just pull it open. So that's what this is for. So here's the handle style system that I set up, and I actually picked up this handle system from Brad from Raising Whitetails. So you put a stop ahead, and we'll crimp that on right about in here probably. Then you take a handle, it's just a piece of I think it's 3/4 inch bar stock. You thread that onto there. Then you put another one below it. Now this will keep the handle from coming off, and this is going to be used as a stop for the height you want the guillotine gate to stay down or up. That's what this other one will be when we crimp that on. Here, we'll just put it in there, you do it. Alright, so now we've got the handle on the cable. That's going nowhere. And now we're going to crimp this one up higher. So then when we pull the guillotine gate down, we'll have a hook made out of angle iron, which we'll show you here shortly, that this can stop on and keep the gate high, or keep this hanging down reachable, so it doesn't go up into the pulley. When you're cutting cable for the guillotine gates, this little tool here, and it comes with this spool of 1,000 feet. This is like the only way you're going to get this cut properly and be able to, it's such a clean cut. So you just, and that's it. It doesn't twist it, nothing unwinds. You've got a very clean end at the end, so you can put your stops in. It doesn't make it bigger. It just clean cuts it. So that's what you need.
There we go.
There we go. That's how that works. So there's your catch on your cable. Catches on the angle iron pieces we made. So all a DIY guillotine gate. Perfect.
So that's how we build our guillotine gates. Isaac is the pro welder. My dad has figured out all the measurements. But now it's time for the featured buck of the week. This week's featured buck of the week is Wide Open from High Tine Whitetails in Flat Rock, Alabama, owned by Trice and Keith Freeman. Let's get into the buck breakdown. Wide Open's NADAR number is 413508. He was born in 2022, and at 3 years old, Wide Open scored an impressive 246 inches and carries a spread of nearly 28 inches. According to High Tine Whitetails, the first set of yearlings sired by Wide Open are already showing the wide spread that made their sire stand out. Now let's talk genetics. At Codon 96, Wide Open is a GS and carries a GEBV of negative 0.041. Getting into this pedigree, Wide Open's sire is T3. T3's sire is Texas T. Texas T traces back to Sticker's GR100, and Sticker's GR100 goes all the way back to Redoy Ben. On the other side of Sticker's GR100, we have Elijah. On the other side of Texas T, we get Gladiator 3, tracing back to Gladiator 2, and then on the other side of Gladiator 3, we have Gladiator. Now let's move to the dam side. Wide Open's dam is R1741. R1741 is a daughter of CCW Federal Express, and Federal Express's mom is GKR-W7, which is a deer known throughout the industry. Now paired with GKR-W7 is Express. Going further back, we have Gladiator 2 again, and then we also have Dr. D. On the flip side of CCW Federal Express, we have Overdrive, who traces all the way back to Gladiator. One of the most impressive parts of Wide Open's pedigree is the consistency of proven genetics stacked throughout both the sire and dam sides, combining with frame and industry-leading production history. As for offspring, High Tine Whitetails reports that the first group of yearlings out of Wide Open are already displaying the wide spreads that made him famous, and they are excited to see what future generations will accomplish. If you're looking to add width, proven genetics, and a strong maternal foundation to your breeding program, Wide Open is definitely a buck worth considering. For semen availability, contact Chris Trice at 256-605-9434 or Keith Freeman at 256-657-7032. Also, check out their website at hightinewhitetails.com. Thanks for watching this episode of Raising Whitetails. Make sure to comment down below any topics you want us to cover. Also, if you like watching new deer farming content, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and turn that notification bell on so you don't miss anything from us. And don't forget, we keep saying it every week, we have a massive giveaway coming soon. Once we finish our gender reveal giveaway, we will be giving you more insight on what this massive giveaway is. But until then, we'll see you in the next one.